everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. This is a very unique podcast that we're doing. Last time we did a most underrated Hallmark movie podcast, and we just felt yin and yang kind of a thing. You got to have both sides. So we should do an overrated Hallmark movie podcast. And so this was going to be interesting. I'm excited, and I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Anna's here,
Hey, everybody.
and Dory's here.
Hi.
Are you excited, Dory?
I'm thrilled. I love this topic.
Yeah. Because we watch a lot of movies, and there's
Yeah.
some that get pretty hyped
I
in
know.
our little community.
Well, and I also just want to give the preface that, and I've said this on our podcast, All the Feels, a lot. Just because I'm saying that it's not my favorite or I don't like something doesn't mean I won't watch it again, because with Hallmark, it's all relative, and I definitely would watch a Hallmark movie that I didn't really like again just because it was on and I was in the mood. I've done it before.
Yeah. That's
These
true.
these things are in degrees. And take that note. When I say I don't like something, I've probably seen it 3 times. So do I actually not like it? I don't know.
Well, and mine I don't really like very much, but I if I was doing my least favorite of all time, that would be a different list for the most part.
Totally.
Overrated is not mean that it's necessarily terrible. It means that everybody else thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced cheese, and I don't think it's that great.
Or
Yeah.
Hallmark tried to sell us on it way
Yes.
too hard and they failed. That's
Yes.
what a lot of this is.
Right. Yes. And so it's not necessarily a sign that you'll not like it. You might love it. And so we want to make this a fun experience. So put in the comment section what you think are overrated. And if you hate us for our ideas, put that in the comment section too. It'll be great. So we each have 5 on our list. And I don't know if either of you had any honorable mentions that couldn't make your top 5. I know I did. I almost put Christmas at the Plaza on my top 5, just because I thought this movie got a lot of hype, and I thought that particularly the casting was not great, and I thought that she was very wooden. I'm sure she's a very nice person. Don't take it personal. It wasn't for me. I didn't like that, and they hurt the chemistry between her and Ryan. And whenever the Pavies get excited about something, it gets a little hyped.
True.
So that would be my honorable mention, was Christmas at the Plaza. Even Dan from Deck the Hallmark liked it, and I was like, "What is happening? Like, what? This is
You're
not
like-
good." So
I have an honorable mention, and it is from this past Christmas season, and it was the CCB movie, and it's If I Only Had Christmas.
oh yeah.
And this was more a matter of Hallmark hyping it up.
Yeah.
And also, it's no one's fault because it's a CCB movie. So, of course they're going to hype it up. She's the queen of Christmas. This is no one's fault. But they also were and CCB was talking about it doing press, how they were very excited about how this was a Wizard of Oz theme.
Right.
And that fell completely flat for me when watching this movie. I was kind of shocked that it was so clearly not any kind of Wizard of Oz anything. So I think it was overrated, but I will say CCB looked gorgeous. She's never
Oh,
looked better in a
yes.
movie. Her clothes are great. Her hair was
Was
great. She was
wasn't it like
glowing.
Harry Tin Man or something like that? Like they had the
Yeah,
last names.
it was.
It was just
Oh,
names, yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah,
Joseph Scarecrow or something like that.
yeah. And I was just like, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't. And I mean, Hallmark
Yeah.
has done this before, right? They do it with the Pride and the Prejudice and
Ugh.
the Sense and Sensibility, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't always work. And like more than that, it's just unnecessary a lot of times. Like, we're gonna watch the movie. I am not more likely to watch this because you put Sense and Sensibility in the title.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I seriously considered all of the Jane Austen movies to put on this list, but I feel like nobody really likes them that much.
Right.
So they wouldn't be overrated, but you're right. The Hallmark does push them a lot. And you go and you watch and this like it has nothing to do with Jane Austen, like at all.
Right. And you could have just released the movie with a different name. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't even have that comparison as a, a bad
Exactly.
bad thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, maybe we should dive in. Maybe before we dive in, we should maybe give a little explanation of kind of what we want out of these movies, what we're looking for. I mean, what to you, Dory, is like a great Hallmark movie? Makes for a great Hallmark movie.
To me, the main couple has to have good chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Yeah.
a must. And I think that chemistry is so important that it can overshadow a lot of other missteps, right?
Yeah.
Like, it can overshadow not the best writing. It can overshadow like holes in a story just because you love the two characters and you're rooting for them.
Yeah.
You can be a lot more forgiving when the main couple has great chemistry. I also need it to be, for me, I don't necessarily need it to be like laugh out loud funny, but I need there to be humor, even if it is like a dramatic movie. Like, one of my favorite Hallmark movies is The Christmas Ornament, and it's a pretty dramatic movie, It's about a
Yeah.
widow. There are so many funny moments in that movie though that really balance out the harder parts. Like, Kelly Martin's character is kind of sarcastic and she's always joking with Cameron Matheson's character, and like
Yeah.
you need that to balance out the more dramatic moments.
Yeah.
So I need it to have some humor. And I
It's true.
also need the movie at this point to be different somehow. We have seen so many versions of the same movie over and over again. And I'm not knocking that, obviously. Like, I'm here for that. I watch these movies over and over again. But there are ways to make movies a little more unique, a little different, whether it's the person's job is something different and interesting, or maybe it's set in a unusual location or whatever. So it just has to be a little different than what we've been seeing. Those are like the main three things I'm looking for.
Yeah. I think that's true. I mean, think of someone like Trading Christmas. The reason why it's so good is that you have great chemistry between both couples in that case. But then
Mhm.
also there's a lot of laughs, but then there's a lot of really sweet and tender moments as well.
Yep.
Like with her dealing with her grief and her relationship with her daughter, and then the other woman going through her divorce and she's kind of bitter about men, and then meeting this writer. So there's like a mixture of warmth and humor,
Right. And then
in the good ones.
totally. And then at the time that movie came out, it was kind of a unique concept. Like, this
Yeah,
was pre
that's true.
Airbnb and like
Yeah.
going online and renting someone's home. Like, this was kind of a unique new concept, like The Holiday did it, but that's really it.
Hmm.
And I also felt that way like with another Christmas movie, Window Wonderland, which you guys know I love.
Yeah.
Like, that was a really unique job. Like, I had never seen a movie where the job the two people worked as window dressers. And I was like, this is so fun and cool. So there are always ways to take these tropes, these tried and true tropes that we love, and make them feel special.
Yeah. Do you agree, Anne?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with what Dory said. Or like, good chemistry is so important to me, because when I look at my like list for the year, it's like I can tell chemistry is more important to me than story, because I have those higher than some of the ones where where maybe the story was better but the chemistry wasn't good, so I have it lower on my list. So that really does make a difference. And I really love good banter. That always makes fun movie to me, is great banter. And like she said, the different, something a little different, and the funny moments, those are all things that I really like and want to see.
Me too. And it can really elevate a film. You think about that royal movie with Laura Osnes, I can't think of the name, but this last One Royal Weekend, I think that's what it's called. Anyway,
I can't remember.
You think about something like that we've seen so many of that basic formula over and over again, but because of the chemistry and because of the banter, because Julie's a really good writer, it elevates it and makes it really fun.
It makes it stand out a little bit different from the other royal movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive in. I will go first. My number 5 is the movie event of the year. Set your DVRs now.
Oh my God.
It's Bottled with Love. It will change your life. It's
Rachel, it changed my life. You were just not paying attention.
So this movie had the most crazy marketing campaign I've ever seen for a Hallmark movie, with it was like a trailer for like a regular movie, where they're like, Entertainment Weekly says the best chemistry ever, and and I was telling Ian this, that if you're gonna have critics, in your promo for your Hallmark movie, why on earth would you not have Alonso Duralde in your ad, the person who's been, like, as far as critics, by far the most supportive of Hallmark movies? Like, that's crazy. I mean, I get why they wouldn't have me, because I'm new. I was new on the scene, but come on. And I don't know, this movie is fine. I just thought it was pretty vanilla. Like, it's not terrible, but I definitely think it's not the movie event of the year. I
you break my heart.
It's not like when I was making my best of 2019 movie list as a film critic, I'm thinking, I gotta fit Bottled with Love in there.
Yikes.
I mean, the story is it's fairly vanilla, that we've seen a lot of times. And I mean, she's so cute when she's eating those pancakes. That's fun.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love her style in that whole movie. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks cute. It's perfectly serviceable. I wouldn't even have said it was my favorite of that season, let alone the whole year. I liked True Love Blooms better, personally. But, and it was also weird because it was the week before the Hallmark Hall of Fame. And usually if they're going to do like gravitas, in an ad campaign, they're going to do it for Hall of Fame, right?
That's
and so it was like, it's kind of strange. And it's also kind of rude for all the movies that are going to be coming up the next couple of weeks, when they're like, this is the one.
That's true. And it was like in spring. There was so much more of the year left. It was kind of it was just a weird idea to do
if
that.
I was Nikki DeLoach, I would have been like, hey!
I know.
I'd be a little annoyed. I don't know. It's just average to me. It's fine. I don't hate it, but it was not as great as they made it sound to me. What do you think of this one, Dory?
I liked it fine, but I'm with you. The promo around it was like alarming. I was like, I've never seen them push a movie this hard.
I know.
And then to sit down and watch it, I was like, okay, that was cute. But like they were trying to make it seem like it was Oscar worthy.
Yeah,
They
they were.
really were going crazy. And I just kind of couldn't believe that that was the movie that they put all of their money and resources behind, because I liked it. I like that pairing. I really liked that pairing. I thought they were great together. I liked the end.
Mm.
Um I thought it was cute, but I was just like, this is not the best Hallmark movie of the year for sure. And
Yeah.
I'm with Rachel. I liked True Love Blooms better. And I also liked the Nikki DeLoach one better. Wasn't that the one where she was the pilot or whatever?
Yeah, where
With a
she's dating the
doctor.
pilot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked that one better. So I was kind of at a loss as to why they loved this movie so
Well, and
much.
Love to the Rescue was that season as well, and
Oh,
that was
the
so good.
best. The
Yeah, it was a
best.
strong
Yeah.
spring. It was that
Yeah,
year it
it
was
was.
strong. Yeah.
It was a strong spring. And I mean, frankly, I don't think this is the best of this pairing. I think Snowed In Christmas for Lifetime is the
Yeah.
best of them for sure.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Dory?
Yeah, I watched it for the first time
Oh, it's
this
so
last Christmas. It was great.
Oh
They
yeah,
have they
it's
have
really
such
good.
great chemistry.
good. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's why I didn't think this movie was bad by any stretch. I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
It just didn't, change my life, as Rachel
Yeah.
as Rachel said.
I mean, if I was going the worst movies I've ever seen, it would be Home by Spring would be top of the list, but nobody likes that. I mean, very few people like that. So it's not overrated. It's
Yeah.
properly rated.
Properly
Exactly.
rated.
But if I'm asking overrated, we gotta have this on the list. So yeah. And Snowed In Christmas. It's so good. So
Very
people should
good.
watch that. And then if you still have time, you can watch this.
Oh my gosh.
And Snowed In Christmas, they did a music video,
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
which is so good. So, and Carly Smale, she is the best. She's such a good writer for Snowed In Christmas. And she did Christmas Pen Pals, which is so good.
Yeah, she's very good. She's very
Yeah,
talented.
yeah. So that's my number 5. All right, Dory, what's your number 5?
My number 5, it should come as no surprise, is The Wedding March. And my issue with The Wedding March is not necessarily The Wedding March. It's The Wedding March 2, 3, 4, and 5. This whole series is overrated. There did not need to be one sequel, let alone 4. And
And
I
another one coming,
I
getting
was gonna
filmed right
say,
now.
yep.
I know. And it really bummed me out that I didn't like this movie more, because I like Jack Wagner, I like Josie Bissett, I like them together. Um and I really wish Hallmark would do more movies with like an an older couple finding love, for people who aren't in their 30s, which is like most of the Hallmark movies that we watch, right? I really like that, but this one just fell flat to me. Part of it is Hallmark is not the best with the wedding movies. And I hate to say
Yeah.
that, but they are not like June Brides or whatever. Is never the strongest season of a Hallmark year. And I don't know. It just like, I just wasn't buying it. And it just made me sad because I wanted to like it more. And I just thought it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
And I just thought all of the sequels got worse and worse and worse, if that was possible. They just feel so contrived and, ugh, it's just not
Can
my
we agree
favorite.
though that the second one is the worst of the series,
Who's
please?
in that one?
It has the Aaron Burkowals or whatever you say his name from it's the only one that really has a real bridezilla in
I
it.
don't think I've seen that one actually.
Ooh.
I mean, maybe I've blocked it.
I hated that one so much. Well, see, it's really funny because so we started the podcast in 2017, the summer of 2017. And before that, I was like, I would watch the Christmas movies and I wouldn't really watch that many during the rest of the year. But because we're starting this podcast, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to tune in and start watching, the movies and everything. And I ended up on watching both the Wedding March and then Wedding March 2. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into?
Mm-hmm.
It was not a great. I was like, somebody had mentioned that the Hallmark sequels weren't very good. And I was like, yeah, I just watched a really terrible one. So if you listen to our very first episode that we ever did, I talked about I watched this really bad one with Jack Wagner.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So it was one of my initiations into bad Hallmark movies. And yeah, she is just the worst. That woman in the second one.
I mean,
Whew.
the wedding movies are really tough to deal with a lot of times because it does come down a lot of times to a bridezilla, and I just think that is so tired. Like that is
It
such a
is.
tired theme.
It's like it's the only conflict they use for it, and it's like nobody
Yeah.
wants to see that, and it's just oh gosh, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad they cut June's Brides this year. I'm not mad at all. I'm like hallelujah. I'm
Agreed.
I'm
Yeah.
done with it.
I know. It's tough. Like they just very rarely get the wedding movies right.
Yeah.
And this one, the Wedding March movies were hyped. It was Jack Wagner, it was Josie Bissett, Bissett. It was,
Emily Tennant is in there. And
yeah, like they had it hyped up, a nice summer movie, and it just was not their best effort.
Although one of my favorite memories of the podcast is when we covered June Brides with Wedding March 3 with Lisa, and when they got that promise ring, we just,
oh my gosh,
or was that 4? I can't remember, but we died laughing.
What grown woman with
like
an adult child wants a promise ring?
So ridiculous.
That's embarrassing.
That's like for someone who's like 18 or something. Like, yeah. That's crazy.
Like this is an adult whose child is also an adult.
Yeah.
And you're gonna give her a promise ring? Like I'm 37, and if someone gave me a promise ring, we would break up. And
I would throw it in their face.
Exactly. That's not, after a certain age, that is an insult. That is not a show of love.
Yeah. I think it was actually the 4th one that he does the promise ring, and we just died.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
Whichever one that is. Gosh.
Anyway.
An insult. A true insult.
Yeah. So, Anne, what is your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is Love on Safari. And I mean, I don't know if this one's that overrated, but most everything with Lacey Chabert, people talk about or like or kind of overrated. So it's a movie that I think is overrated, just because I mean, I was excited about it when I heard about it, and then after I saw the movie, I was like, "Oh, this is not enjoyable to me." I think what I always overhype the on location movies. I try not to. It's just like it's just gonna happen. Like I just don't like most of them because most of the time I just do it to myself, but I overhype it because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be beautiful, it's gonna be stunning. But it's like even if it's beautiful and stunning, like if the chemistry is not good, which in this movie I don't think the chemistry was good, and I did not like John Corr's character. He just came across the wrong way to me. I just did not like the way he came across, so much so that I have not watched another movie that he's been a lead in since then because I just really did not like his character in that movie. And so that was what really hurt the movie to me, was their chemistry and just his character and the kind of just harshness and just, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And so I just felt like the movie was just overhyped. And I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't think it's good. I was sad because I was like, oh, I want to see Lacey like in the, with these beautiful animals and like all this stuff. And then it's like, it's like, like I wanted it to be, so good. And
it's
it
true. The
wasn't.
location movies can be. I mean, I did feel a little bit that way about Christmas in Vienna. It wasn't that great, which
and it
I
was
wanted to
again, it
love
was
it
like
so much.
It was kind of the same thing, like one character and their like kind of character flaws, just like too much, and it kind of overpowered, So that can be too much sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. Or recently the Ireland movie, that was disappointing.
That was disappointing. Yeah.
It was a snooze.
I mean, look, the scenery can't save you. And I wish that Hallmark would take that note, because most of these on location movies end up being disappointments in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I am right. I completely agree with you, Anne. I thought this movie was boring. I just wasn't a fan at all. I hated the premise that like she, her whatever grandfather, uncle, whoever left her a game reserve. No,
Lacey has inherited so many things. It's like not even funny now.
I know.
On every continent, she's just got stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, you inherited this in Africa.
She's even getting children in the most recent one.
Inheriting
children.
In a chalet. I mean, she's got,
lots of real estate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that one's pretty vanilla. I agree. I didn't love it. My number 4 is one that a lot of people love. It was my former co-host Amber's one of her favorites, and I did not agree. And it's one of those ones that's just overwhelmed for me by an annoying secondary character, and that can happen. And it's The Perfect Bride. And I love Pascal Hutton and I love Kevin Smith. They're the best part of When Calls the Heart, no question. But his fiance in this movie, I just hated her so much. And she overwhelmed the movie to me. She was in the movie a lot because she's training under her and she's engaged to him. So she's in a lot of scenes and she was terrible, even to the point of stealing another woman's dress that she knows is meant for another person, and she takes it. And she was just so selfish and awful. I just hated her character. And like I said, to me, sometimes that can happen where a secondary character will just overwhelm the movie to me, and I just can't. And so I liked the second one better because she was not in it. But this one, it was not for me.
This breaks my heart, Rachel. I do like this movie a lot. But I will tell you, I like this movie a lot, but there are 2 things about it that bothered me that at the time I first watched it and have bothered me ever since. The first is obviously the Bridezilla fiance. I also I'm so sick of people writing women this way who are getting married. Like, I'm so done. I'm so done with the Bridezilla trope. I think it's stupid. I'm not here for it. So I don't like that. And this one was the worst. Like, stealing another woman's altered wedding dress is insane. That is just unhinged. That drove me crazy. But I also hate that she does not know he is engaged. And they have this moment at this wedding where they first meet, and they dance and they have like banter and they're flirting, and he is engaged the entire time and she does not find out until they enroll in her bridal boot camp. Right. That makes me so upset.
Yeah.
If there are any men listening, do not do this.
No, no, that really bothers me when they do
not
that stuff.
Do this to women. It is terrible. She was going there expecting to have a horrible time because she has her own baggage with weddings. She ended up having a great time and meeting a great guy, or so she thought, only to find out he's engaged.
Yeah,
It was
that's
just
true.
brutal.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
not
Have you
like
seen this
that.
one, Anne?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do not like it when they do when they let them like, flirt and do stuff with the engaged people and stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't
It's
like
not
that.
good.
I
Yeah.
know. It's like a knife to the heart. That said, I still like the movie and I'm sad. I'm sad, Rachel, that you are not a fan, but
No.
I
No.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean though about how a secondary character, if you really don't like them, can really sour a movie.
Well, and like you said, she's in it a lot. It's not just that she's a secondary
Yeah.
character, it's that she's almost a part of their relationship or
Yeah.
trying to build their relationship. And, no one wants that.
Yeah. Exactly. So, what's your number 4, Dory?
It's Journey Back to Christmas. I'm not going to say a lot about this, other than I hate this movie. And I'm sorry. I told before we started this, I told Rachel, I was like, I'm not gonna be that mean. And here we are at number 4, and I'm like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. This is a CCB Christmas movie. I just hate everything about this. I'm gonna read the synopsis for all of those who have never seen it.
I actually haven't seen it. I know the synopsis, but
Oh,
I've
you
never
haven't
seen it.
seen it.
I've
A
never seen
World
it.
War II era nurse is transported in time to 2016 and meets a man who helps her discover the bonds of family and that the true meaning of Christmas is timeless. What this synopsis does not tell you is that she travels and is transported to the future in a shed, like on a comet. And I wish I was kidding. I wish I
Yeah,
was
Oh,
kidding.
that's
true.
not good.
I wish
Yeah.
I was kidding. There is a Christmas comet that brings her to 2016. And that's really all I'm going to say about this movie. I like if this is your thing, give it a shot. If you think it sounds ridiculous and stupid, you're right. And I agree with you. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Rachel, about this one because I know that you don't hate it
I
and you
don't hate it.
appreciate that they took a chance. I do not.
I
I don't appreciate
I
it.
would like them to do more sci-fi personally. I mean, come
No,
on.
Rachel, you have got to be kidding me that this you I can't believe you are complimenting this movie. You know it's trash.
Oh my
I
gosh.
haven't seen it in a while. I have to
Stop
say.
it.
It's been
Rachel, you know it is ridiculous. The Christmas comet.
it is pretty stupid. I'll give you that. But when you watch 115 Christmas movies, sometimes the one with the comet is kind of like, "Oh, that's novel."
No. No. And the other thing that bummed me out about this movie is that Oliver Hudson is in it and I like him a lot.
Oh yeah, I like him.
And he didn't get to be like fun or funny. Like he's a really
Yeah.
funny guy.
Which yeah.
Right? Like everyone follow him on Instagram. He's like really funny and he was just lame in this movie and she was lame. And here's the other thing that I did not like. They took kind of serious subject matter because like her husband was away at war and it was all of this like serious important subject matter was made ridiculous because the only reason she is here in 2016 is via comet. Like you lost me at that. And then the scenes in which she is like traveling through time, it's literally just shows like a shed lighting up.
Yeah.
There's like a wooden shed out back and there are crazy lights blinking.
Pretend that the TARDIS is out
and
there.
it's shaking. I can't. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a great movie. I can't defend it too much. I really can't. But yeah. So, Anne, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Royal Hearts. And some people might know that Cindy Busby is not my favorite Hallmark actress, so that plays some of a part in this. But she does have a lot of really loyal fans, so I do think it's part of why this movie is overrated. And um, the thing I didn't like about this movie was she did not pay attention to Andrew Cooper in this movie until the last 20 minutes, and that drove me insane. She like paid attention to the
The other
whoever the
guy.
high lofty guy, whoever that was, and he was just like the low class working guy or whatever Andrew Cooper was, and she did not pay him any attention until like the last 20 minutes of the movie, and I was just like, I refuse to forgive her for doing that, and I was just like, I no, nope, I'm not okay with this. Have you seen Andrew Cooper? Like, why are you not paying attention to him? And it just made her seem like not a good person just because he was like the low class person, and it's like all of a sudden then she was trying to pay attention to him, and I was like, no, don't just go off with the other guy, because you refused to, her character refused to pay attention to him the whole movie, and so that kind of drove me crazy.
I love that
that's my whole reason.
Forgive her.
I will not.
My defense of this movie, the thing I do, there's a couple things I do like about this movie. One, I think James Brolin is really funny.
He's good. He's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, the curmudgeonly old man who just wants his dog, and
he does that very well. Yeah,
he's very good. And then the other thing that I do like the fact that the men are courting her and trying to, because most of the royal movies it's like somebody like Lacey or Danica that they're poor and a common person, whatever, and they meet the royal, and then they have to kind of win the royals over. In this case, it was actually the two guys that were like kind of courting her and trying to get her attention, which was different.
That's true. Yeah, that was different.
I liked that. But yeah, and I also thought her dress was very pretty, because sometimes in these royal movies I'm like, it's not good enough.
The style can be weird. Yeah,
the dress can be a little on the cheap, and this, she looked good. That's my only defense of that movie.
I get that, especially James Brolin. He was good in that movie.
Yeah.
And back to Andrew Cooper. Where is he?
I know.
I would like to see more of him.
Yeah, I like him.
He
was in Christmas at the Palace, but I didn't like that movie either, and so it wasn't that great. Either. So, but yeah, I wish they would use him a little bit more, because I do like him.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. All right. My number 3, and I guess I don't know exactly how overrated this is, but it plays every year at Christmas, and I hate it. It's Angels and Ornaments. I call this the creepy grandpa movie.
Oh gosh.
Because
never a good sign.
The grandpa angel. So this movie is about this old man who's an angel who gets assigned to come and make these two other people fall in love. But he's just always kind of there and looming around and like watching them. And it's the most Hallmark horror by far of any Hallmark movie ever.
I would also encourage people to just look at the promo image, the poster for this movie, because it is literally what Rachel just said. It is like the main couple up front, and then the angel creepily staring at them
with sparkle
in the background.
There's whole scenes where they're like just about to kiss, and he's like right there looking in the window. Like,
that's weird. I have not seen this movie either, but that's weird.
Have you seen it, Dory?
Yes. And it is so weird and creepy. And I just like, I'm sorry, but that promo image is just like imprinted on my brain of Mr. Angel standing there like with a creepy smile, like in his scarf on, just like staring at them. It's so weird.
He's just,
and
like,
they do
over involved, and they don't have chemistry at all anyway.
No.
Gosh.
I've never seen them in any other, the leads in this, in any other Hallmark movie.
It is very weird, and I will catch it at one of those random Christmas nights at midnight. It's on, and I'm like, time
It's
to
like
go to
trying to
bed.
do It's a
I'm not
Wonderful
gonna
Life
watch
or
this.
whatever. Well,
I
and It's a
know.
Wonderful Life, the angel is only there in very small doses.
He's also not a creeper.
Yeah, he's not hovering all around.
No, he's not watching Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed make out.
Yeah. So, all right. What's your number 3, Dory?
My number 3 is Campfire Kiss. This is a Danica movie. She I think she's a single mom. She takes her son camping. And they do some
Paul
I don't
Green.
know, this whole camping adventure. Yeah, and she falls in love with Paul Green, who's an outdoorsman. I just do not like this movie. They make her seem so stupid. When they are, which I hate, when they're packing for the camping trip, she literally packs a camping cappuccino maker, and I'm like, no person is this dumb, and don't do this. I don't know, it just irks me, that whole this city girl out of her element in the woods. And it's
Right.
listen, even a city girl knows that when you're camping, it is necessities. And I don't think anyone would consider a cappuccino maker a necessity. And I
Even I
just
wouldn't
don't,
do that.
right? I just don't like when they dumb people down like that. It's stupid. This is a competent woman, a single mother.
And she's a math teacher, isn't she?
Yeah, I
Right.
think, yeah.
Why do dumb stuff like that?
Yeah.
I don't think they have great chemistry.
Yeah.
It's just not my fave. It's, I have mixed feelings about Danica, and I did not care for her in this movie. Do you guys remember it? Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
It's been a while, but yeah, I did see it, and I remember the chemistry not being very good, and the title is just so bland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we
Campfire
could have a
Kiss.
whole
oh god,
episode on
bland
just the
titles.
titles.
I know.
A winter love story, a summer romance. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, they need some help with these titles.
What is your number 3, Anne?
My number 3 is You're Making Me Crazy.
Yeah.
So I think this movie is okay. It's just, I think it's overrated, which last year, I feel like it was a weird year, obviously, because it was 2020 and there wasn't that many, there wasn't that many good movies. And it was in the top 10 of a lot of people's lists. And I was just but then I was kind of well, I kind of struggled because I'm okay, well, it's not good, but a lot of the movies weren't good. But I don't know. I just thought a lot of people had it higher than I would have had it. And so I thought it was overrated. What really hurt me was the chemistry in this movie. I love Michael Rady and I like Natalie Hall a lot. I just thought together, I just didn't really feel the chemistry. I could feel the age difference, I felt like, and it kind of bothered me the whole time. But I thought that the story was, was okay. And, the stuff they did together and stuff was good. And the conflict was, something kind of different. But the chemistry, it hurt the movie for me too much.
Since the two of us were on that best of top 10 non-Christmas 2020 countdown, it was slim pickings.
It was. It's true. It was. It was a weird, not very good. Especially compared to 2019 had some pretty good movies. So then it was really stark in comparison to that.
We struggled. Colleen was literally like, I'm picking this movie because I liked Cindy Busby's umbrellas and boots.
That's right. I remember that. That was so funny. Yeah, this is that episode.
I was like, this is a real struggle when we're all judging whether we like a movie or not purely based on the clothes.
Yeah, and I remember Dory saying that you picked the one where she got engaged. Yeah. It was rough.
Listen.
So I get that.
Listen,
I
I
think
did
the
the best
title,
I could.
I think You're Making Me Crazy actually got a long way. It's the opposite of A Winter
Oh, that's
Love
true. The
Story.
title was good.
The
Title was
title.
very
It
good.
was
Yeah.
Very
cute.
good. Well, my number 2 is another one that Amber, my former co-host, really loved that I hated. It's Yes, I Do.
Oh
And
no.
so I love Jen Lilly and I love Marcus Rasner. And I also love the fact that Christy Will Wolf put in a scene of Mark Rosner putting on his shirt just for us. So I appreciate all of
Just
those
for
things.
2.5 seconds of skin.
Yeah, that was for us. Hallmarkies podcast. So all those things I enjoy. But the story I hated. And just I felt like I'd never seen a Hallmark movie where I felt like the leads were in like a toxic relationship. They should not
Yeah.
get married. I didn't
Mhm.
think they were in love. I didn't think
Yeah.
that they liked each other even. and and the whole thing was like winning a bet at the end, not like actually falling in love and getting married. And
Mhm.
just going through all of these weddings at the beginning, and then the whole Jessica Loudis character
Yeah.
was just not for me, and I just really disliked it, and I just felt like these people should not get married.
Yeah. I agree.
Agreed.
And Amber and I had a big fight about it on the
That's
podcast.
so funny. She liked it so much.
Yeah, because in her mind it was kind of like Bringing Up Baby or sort of like a screwball kind of comedy.
Oh.
But
Oh,
I think you have
yeah.
to like the characters more to pull that off,
Yeah.
and I just didn't like them, and I didn't like them together, and I didn't like
Yeah.
the way that he treated her or she treated him or Jessica Loudis' character. I just nope, not for me.
Yeah. And I also definitely remember when that movie ended, I was like, she didn't need to be marrying anybody. She
Yeah.
needed to do a little solo
Some
time.
Yeah, like
self
therapy.
yeah, some self stuff. Because it was not
Exactly.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're like basically like psychosomatic about your anxiety about the actual act of getting married, then you should just get married by a justice of the peace. Like
Yeah.
if it's causing that much anxiety for you to going through all these weddings and stuff, then like your partner should see that and be like, I don't want you to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Or
just
don't
get
get
married.
married.
Yeah, because it's not like it's a requirement. You can get married and on just like a Friday night. Let's go get married. Like,
And then just have a party later or something. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's not required to have a wedding. It's not.
To walk
Yeah.
down an aisle and do all this stuff.
No.
Yeah, yeah. It's not.
So I just didn't like it. And I guess maybe I might have liked it if it had been funny, but it wasn't funny, so it just made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a
Rachel.
good way. It made it uncomfortable. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Rachel, maybe I would have liked it if it would have been funny.
maybe. But all right, Dory, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Love at First Glance. Who remembers this movie?
Oh man,
Yeah, I don't know if
Sadly.
this is
disappointed.
over. I don't know if this is overrated. It's definitely one of the most disappointing. That's for sure.
This
Yeah.
might not be overrated as far as like Hallmark fans go, but this was one of the Hallmark really wants us to watch and like this movie.
I feel
Yeah.
like they did do a lot of promo stuff about. I remember seeing promo stuff about it a lot.
Right?
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
disappointing. I was so mad.
yes, they pushed it really hard.
Because they probably couldn't
And
believe they got these two people to be in this
I
movie.
know, I know.
Because I couldn't.
I know. It's Amy Smart and Adrian. How do you say his last name?
Grenier?
Grenier, something like that.
We all know who he is from Entourage.
Yes.
And they were clearly so excited about this pairing. They had zero chemistry, and also, as I recall, they weren't really together for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's trying to like track this guy down. because she found his phone on the subway. And I just was not into this at all. I thought it was incredibly boring.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't crazy about the story. I want when you're talking about things like I want out of a Hallmark movie, I want to see the characters together. My favorite Hallmark
Yeah.
movies are when they are like dating and doing things and getting to know each other and spending time together. That was not this movie.
Yeah. Imagine that, wanting the characters in a romance to spend time together.
I know, shocking. I know. Like, I know that's a hot take. I know that's a real hot take that I want the couple to actually spend time in each other's presence. But because when they don't, it's like, what's the point? What am I here for?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
this movie
definitely
frustrated me. It bummed me out. And wasn't Jonathan Bennett in it too? Like, it had the makings of what could be a fun, cute movie, and I think it just failed a little bit. Yeah.
I agree with that one for sure. All right, Anne, what's your number 2?
All right, the number 2 is going to be the 2 ones that people are going to not like me a lot. So, you ready? The Unleashing Mr. Darcy, particularly the second one, is the one I think is overrated. Definitely. Everyone throw tomatoes.
Cue the
Okay.
Twitter. cue the
Baby
tweet.
pack
Cue
freak
the
out.
tweets.
Okay.
Now, I agree that the second one was disappointing. It was not what I was hoping it would be.
The first one, I liked. I thought it was pretty good. But the second one, it was the Bridezilla meltdown. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're marrying Ryan Pavey. I just cannot deal with you acting like this.
Yeah, and then she ends up getting 2 weddings.
I know.
After that.
After all that, where there's one of those scenes where she's laying in bed crying and it's like day turns to night, night turns to day, and she never wakes up and she's so distraught over this wedding. So of course the solution is to have 2. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's just
Agreed. Yeah. I'm not going to
just
fight
couldn't
that.
get on
I
board
like
with it.
the first one. I do think is one of the better of these Jane Austen Hallmark, because it's actually the story, like at least marginally compared to these other ones.
Yeah.
And I do think that Pavey makes a great Darcy. I think
yes, he does.
that he is at his best.
We also have that scene of him swimming, lest we forget.
Oh yeah.
So
we can't forget that.
Let us not forget that important moment. I will say too, our friend Lisa has a podcast, Which Was Better, and we did an episode on the first movie, Unleashing Mr. Darcy, and the book. And if you like the movie, I would encourage you to read the book, because the book is great. It is great source material for, like, I think
you're talking about Unleashing Mr. Darcy book, not Pride and Prejudice.
Yes, Unleashing Mr. Darcy book, not Pride and Prejudice. Although, read Pride and Prejudice too. I love that book as well.
Yeah.
But you can also read Unleashing Mr. Darcy, and it is great source material. And I think that movie is really good because the book is really good. So check it out. And that was Ryan Pavey's first Hallmark movie, huh? Yeah, I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure, but yeah, I believe
it's the one that brought him into our lives.
That's right. And there definitely does not need to be a third one. I'm sorry, Pavey Pack. I disagree. No more. Let's let it be over. Just put to bed, okay?
Yeah.
I can't handle anymore.
Okay.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
My number one, drum roll, is Engaging Father Christmas in particular, but the Father Christmas trilogy. I just, the plot for the second one was so stupid. With supposedly Miranda is is getting blackmailed by this guy who threatens to expose the secrets that her father had a love child, and he's like a stage actor who's passed away. I mean, I don't think anybody would even care about a living actor who had a love child on the stage. Like, does anybody really care that much about your Broadway stars that you're like, oh wow, what's their love life like? I mean, come on. And this guy was performing not even on Broadway, and they expect the Wickhams, who are the worst, they expect her to break up with Niall Mater, because if she really loves the family, then she'll do that. And it's like, you haven't even recognized her as a member of your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have not publicly recognized that she is this man's daughter. And so you want her to break up her relationship with Ian, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
You want her to break up her relationship with Ian over a blackmail plot about somebody who isn't even living. And I mean, what? It's so stupid. I just can't. It's where I first coined the term "this took me to a dark place," because
the origin story here.
Yes, because the dark place, when I say that, it's not something that's just bad. It's something that's nonsensical and makes my brain hurt.
Yeah.
And that's what was with this. It was so stupid. And I just hate the Wickhams. They're terrible. They're unkind, unfeeling. And even Wendy Malick, as great as she is, can't save it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only good thing about the engaging one was the proposal was pretty good. I'll give it that. But since I didn't care about the couple or Miranda or the movie, it's terrible. I'm sorry, Arties. I know, but I thought it was really bad. And I can't.
Just can't.
Woo.
Yep.
I you know what? I'm glad you got that off your chest. I can tell you needed to, and
she feels better.
I'm here
now,
for it. I'm
Deep
here
breaths.
for it. I'm here for it. I appreciate everything you said. I get
it.
Yes, Caroline would be shocked. I still love you, Caroline. I promise.
Caroline, plug your ears. We're sorry.
So, Dory, what's your number one?
My number one is Christmas at Graceland.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because there's like no Graceland in it. And what's the point? I wanted to see more rooms in Graceland. I was just disappointed.
Yeah. And they played Silent Night 9 times.
Yeah, I really love Wes Brown, and Kelly Pickler tries very hard, and it was hyped. This movie was definitely hyped up, right? Like, it was a very big deal that
number one that year too.
Yep, it was very hyped up that a movie was going to be filmed at Graceland. Priscilla Presley makes a cameo, and for me, I've never been, so I was really looking forward to seeing more of the property, and we saw like 2 rooms. And I was like, this is it? Really? Like, all that hype, all that big deal about them finally being able to film a movie in Graceland. It just, wasn't my fave. The sequel wasn't my fave. And
the spinoff.
Yeah, the spinoff. And it's just a bummer because like we were saying with these on location movies, they get to film in some really cool places and do some really cool things.
Yeah.
But like you need to have a good story to go along with your good location.
Yeah.
And you can't just cash in on the location alone.
Expect it to do all the work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it has to be a great pairing, good writing, and a good location, you know? Like you can't just look at the scenery the whole time. And even in movies where you are just looking at the scenery the whole time, like Love on Iceland, which I mean, I admit I like that movie a lot because I'm just staring at Iceland most of the time.
Yeah.
But then you have an on location movie like Christmas is at Graceland, and you can't even stare at Graceland that much because you only get 2 rooms of the property. So it like fails on a lot of levels,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
The Dollywood had the same problem.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That's too bad. Well, what is your number one, Anne?
All right, the people can even hate me worse than the other one. So, All of My Heart series. The first one is the best, which is usually the case in all of these series or
Yeah.
trilogies, whatever you call them. The first one's always the better one. So the first one's better, but I think it's just way overhyped. I mean, Brendan Elliott to me is fine. He's not up on my list like some other people, so that's not like some amazing thing to me that he's in this movie with Lacey. So that doesn't, really do anything for me. And like I said, the first one's okay, but I'm like, why do we need 2 more? I didn't really see why we really needed that. But
I do
people
think
love it.
Yeah, I do think the third one was way better than the second one.
Yeah,
In
that's
my
actually
opinion.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. They just struggle. I feel like we could just say Hallmark sequels as
Yeah,
our
they
number
just
one.
yeah, definitely. They just they just
Mhm.
really struggle. I mean, and it's hard to do a good sequel even with regular movies. I
Yeah,
mean, in
that's
theaters
true.
and stuff. It's a very hard thing to successfully do.
But I think
Mhm.
it's particularly hard in a romance because the couple's together. So what do you do
Yeah,
next?
Mhm.
And
exactly.
you have to introduce some kind of conflict, and so they
Yeah.
choose to make them break up and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
And then that
oh, why
makes me
did you do
crazy.
that? Why
Yeah.
did you do that? And yeah, I think the better shot is sort of the more spin-off type sequels.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
where
think
you
so.
take a minor character from a supporting character and you give them their own movie, and maybe you see the original characters a little bit, saying hi or whatever, but the main story, because that way you can
Mhm.
have a whole new romance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I
Yeah, it's
think those
really
are
hard.
better.
It's hard to pull off the sequels, and I mean, the only one I can even think of off the top of my head that does it really well is the, what's the one? The Christmas one.
Christmas.
Man, what's it? I have to look it up.
I mean, the one I could think of is One Went to Proposal, and that's only because it's leading up to proposal, so it's actually good because they're not going to break up. So it's
Yeah,
like,
but then the third one,
but then the third one, yeah, was
disappointing.
not very good. But
It's
that
a
one, the
gift.
second one is better
Yeah.
than
It's a
most
gift
second
to
ones.
remember too.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's a
Is
proposal one too.
right. And
See,
but
so
it's
those
a
are
really
better.
they are better. And a gift to remember too is a really good. I mean, I think I liked this sequel better than the first one, and I loved both of them actually.
Yeah. That's a
And
The
good
second one
example.
was really good.
it's
That's
really good
Topher
because they
Payne.
don't
He's
break
good.
them up. Like they have an
Yeah.
Yeah.
external conflict that they're kind of dealing with, but
Mhm.
the issue is never with them. But I think that the problem is that you have to make the external conflict really interesting, and it is very hard to make an external conflict not dealing with the couple interesting, but
Mhm.
also light enough for Hallmark.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's a pretty small small
You
spot
know,
of stuff. Yeah.
right? Like it's a very tough dance
That's
to
why
pull off.
whenever there's a good one, and immediately people are like, "We want a sequel. We want a sequel." I'm like, "No."
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
You're like, do you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
tough. They're
mean,
tough to accomplish.
I guess there's Signed,
Yeah.
Sealed, Delivered, if that counts, but it's more a TV show. But
Yeah.
those are good.
And there's more of like a central, there's a mystery that changes every time that is the main focus.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like you need there to be another focus that's not a couple. Like it's not the couple isn't having issues. The world around them is having some kind of issue that they are dealing with together. I feel like that helps.
Yeah, I think the better idea, even though I don't particularly love the Godwink movies, I think the idea of like an overall concept and then you have different stories within that, kind of a thing, like that to me is probably a better idea than doing traditional sequels.
Yeah.
Right. It's a better way to accomplish those movies. I agree.
So we had some comments from our patrons. Let me pull those up real quick. We had some comments from our patrons. If you're interested in joining our Patreon to be part of our Facebook group, we put all the information in the description section. Just check it out. It's really great. So we have Steve Hahn says the one that comes to mind is Bottled with Love. It was a fine movie, but the hype machine was a spiritual
You guys
Michelle
killed me.
Benson says the Vineyard Ones, which again, talk about another example. The first one, good. Sequels, not good.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, why in the heck were they even lying to each other in the third one? It made no sense. I'm gaining an education. I need to keep this from you. What?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was stupid. Okay. Julia Audie says, such a tough question. A hallmark of the Hallmark Channel is that all of it is underrated by my friends and family. I will say it's a hard being the first Christmas movie out of the gate. And also, it's usually disappointing when a top billed star is hardly in the movie. So, here we go. Caroline, our good friend, says, definitely Bottled with Love.
Yeah. This promo, I want y'all to I wish they could just go back in time, erase that, and see what you guys think about it. Because this movie is great. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, it's great. Watch it again.
All of My Heart, Wedding March. So she's just on all three of our picks. And then Casey says she loved Bottled with Love, but it was definitely overhyped. So, Becky Schopner, she says the Godwink movies, which I think is probably fair.
Yeah.
And Alonzo, he says the Danica Royal Christmas movie. So he's not a Crown for Christmas fan, which I disagree with. That one.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
And our good friend Carrie, she has also If I Only Had Christmas, CCB.
Yeah.
So there we go. That is some more overrated. So we'll see what will be the next movie event of the year.
Oh dear, they probably never do it again now.
If you do, I'm a film critic on Rotten Tomatoes. Call me up, Hallmark.
Man, I mean, I think a lot of times it's just Hallmark really hyping us up. They know how to whip us into a frenzy, and then oftentimes that frenzy falls flat quickly.
Oh. So, well, this was fun. I had a good time. Hopefully people enjoyed listening. And Dory, where can people find you?
You can find me at All the Feels Pod on Twitter, All the Feels Podcast on Facebook, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
And Anne?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, awscott21.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. Our Patreon group, and we have our merch store, which has tons of fun Hallmark-inspired designs. So check that out. And thanks so much. And let us know, again, you're overrated in the comments. That would be a lot of fun. So we'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye.